this. So I don't know how long it's going to take or whatever, but I'm going to just share my screen with the notes that I have here. And we can get started because I know we're short on time. Can everybody hear me okay? Yeah? Good? Okay. And hi, I'm Christina Laney Mitre, and I'm with Smart Living Hawaii. And this is a nonprofit that I started. It originally started off as part of my marketing for real estate. I had a client who was working on bento homes, which is like an ADU product, and they wanted to feature me because I started you know, showcasing a lot of different things on my social media for living smart and then and sustainability. And then all of a sudden they were like, oh, we will help start a podcast for you. And so I said, oh my gosh, I don't know how to do a podcast. So they helped me with the first 5 podcasts, and I just basically started going, you know, doing these podcasts in 5 different areas in sustainability. And through that process, I learned in all these different areas. And then I learned about sustainability, that the actual everything that the state of Hawaii is doing. And then I realized that this has been going on for over a decade, and a lot of people had no idea about it. And maybe the people within the industries of, you know, agriculture or, you know, all of the different sectors that are within sustainability, they may know about it, but just the common people have no clue. So then I was like, oh my goodness. So the more I found out, I just kept on diving deeper and learning more about everything. And then I started putting it up on a website because I felt like everything was all over the place and nobody knew where to go to find certain things, because some things are state, some things are by county and Honolulu, and then some things are with nonprofits, and then some things are, anyways, everything was all over the place. So I just started collecting things and posting it to a site. And then I also did the podcast. So here is kind of our focus. Over the past few years, I've kind of made it our mission to help Hawaii. Can everybody see this screen? Maybe I should do it like this way. Is this better? Yeah. Is that better? Okay. So the mission really is to be basically help people in Hawaii first, you know, understand what Hawaii is doing in sustainable world, you know, what we are doing, what our goals are. And I try to do it through collaboration. So we're kind of a resource where I try to post as much things as I can, but there's so much stuff that I just don't get up on the website as much as I would love to. I just don't have the time. So if there are things that, you know, people always share with me, I try to get it up there. The other thing is, besides just being that resource, is to assist people who are having their own businesses in sustainability, whether they're, you know, a nonprofit or it's their business because they have sustainable products, or whether it's a government agency. I really want to help them do, you know, promote their stuff. So the different sectors that I focused on, and a lot of this comes from Hawaii Green Growth. I don't know if you're all familiar with them, but it's kind of like a statewide program that works together in all different areas. So you're dealing with the state, the city and counties of the state of Hawaii, and then you're also dealing with businesses, and then you're also dealing with civil, like just people in general. So they have 6 different areas. I've kind of narrowed them down to agriculture, environment, energy, housing, culture, and then I also like to focus on health and wellness because that ends up being a big part of Hawaii's lifestyle. So what we do is, like I said, we do the podcasts. I do post some blogs. A lot of times I post blogs on my Smart Living Hawaii real estate side more often now. We also have social media, and we just cover the awareness, and then we do help with businesses and partnerships and everything like that. And I'm always looking for more content that I can share with others. So I know there's a ton of businesses and a lot of people that I haven't been able to connect with, and they would be great for podcasts. Please definitely send them my way because I would love to interview them. So you can always email me or just give me a call. Let me know like, hey, I need to introduce you to so-and-so. And then that's usually how it starts. And then I just, connect with them, talk with them. And then the next thing you know, I'm recording a podcast. So that's usually how it works. And then I usually help with bringing them on as well for our Eco Rotary meetings. So if you notice, some of them were people that you might see on my podcast, but then I'll bring them in for our monthly meetings too. Now, I've always done real estate for the past 15, 16 years. And sustainability is one of those things where you start doing it just a little, you do one step of something, and then, well, it starts to take over your entire life and my family's life, and it bleeds into, your work and your career. And what I've realized is that it overlaps housing and the real estate market that I'm in much more than I realized. I definitely focus on residential real estate, but as of right now and where I'm headed with our team, I would love to see in the next, I would say 5-10 years it would be great if we solely focus on these areas, but this is what we kind of do now. So besides residential real estate, there's green homes, sustainable building, high performance homes, farm and agricultural land, and affordable housing. So I kind of will touch on these just a little bit. I don't know how much time we have, but about 2 years ago, I got my NAR green designation, and that's for realtors. So the National Association of Realtors has this designation for people who are very interested in green homes and selling green homes and helping with that market. So there's also, you're also part of the Green Resource Council nationwide. And I actually connect with a whole bunch of realtors across the country who are focused on green building, because here in Hawaii, it's something that's just starting. Our industry, it's not as common as we would like it to be, but there are things that are moving and progressing for the building code that will be much more on the green side of things, to where it's how we're going to have to build. And they just passed the building code for the green code in this past year. So a lot of changes will happen on new products. So this is just something that I'm trying to help with and educate not only our clients and people that we work with in this area, but a lot of the realtors too, because a lot of them have no clue about any of this stuff. Let's see. The types of things that we cover when you're looking at a green home and high performance homes are design, and it always starts from the very beginning. So these are just things that, I'm looking through when we have a house. Like we have a listing that we have, and it's an Ossipoff home. And if you guys are familiar with Ossipoff, he's an architect from mid-century. So he's done a lot of work here in Hawaii, like the IBM building and the Pacific Club, and a lot of, he's just a really well known for almost like this smart living concept. So we do, and like to highlight a lot of these things that are more natural elements within house and design. There's also energy efficiency. So I know there's several people from our club that are in solar. So like solar photovoltaic systems and solar hot water heaters, these are all things that definitely add to your home. And so this is also something that we cover. A lot of these other things here too. I don't want to go through all of it, but I mean, it's just things that we actually cover and I focus on for our clients, in addition to like new homes that are coming up. I mean, there's a lot of really cool architects out there and general contractors that are just starting to take on this type of build. So I know the people that are very interested in sustainability are starting to want to live this way and have their homes be like this. And Some of it is very expensive, but things are coming down, and things are like solar. They're things that can bring down the value, you know, like the price of it, so you can actually get a system up and have tax credits and make it work for you. So, you know, any of these kind of things, I can definitely help or chime in if anybody has questions. This is the next thing that I feel a lot of people are super interested in. A lot of people on the neighbor islands and on the North Shore as more off the grid, net zero, net positive type of homes. I had the pleasure of chatting with Aaron Ackerman, and he has this dope house in Pololo, and it's like a net positive home. I can definitely get you guys the information, or you guys can listen to the podcast with him. His house is so cool. I mean, his house is off the grid in Pololo, and he's got this water catchment that you see in this picture. He's got waste management. He's got gray water, like all these different things in his home. And I got a ton of pictures, but it's just a super cool house that is like, I would say 75% of the home is all materials that have been recycled or reused. He even brought in someone who does artwork, and they did mosaics with reused tiles. And, you know, it's just, it's amazing what you can do with things now. And then to save on money, he's done a lot of things that have been recycled. So that's kind of cool too. Another thing too, if you have cesspools, that by 2050, that's something that you're gonna have to do away with. So there's also information on all of that kind of stuff, composting, recycling. I mean, all of these things, if you happen to be like, hey, I'm kind of interested in doing one or two of these things, or maybe interested in a lot of them, I can, you know, connect you with the right people as well. This one has been a very positive, I mean, a thing where everybody's moving to high performance homes in like California for clean air because of the fires. So a healthy and safe home is what people are looking at, and sometimes it's overriding, I guess, the green sustainable movement now. It's more of, am I safe in my home? Can I breathe in my home, you know, with allergies and everything that's going on? And, you know, just to make sure it's clean and non-toxic. So these are definitely things that are important to a lot of people, especially in the sustainable world these days. And last but not least, when it comes to green and high performance homes, gardening and growing your own food has become something really, I guess, especially in COVID times right now, where you want more home projects. This has been something that's on the radar for a lot of people. So yeah, if you have any questions about this, I have a ton of contacts with farmers, and I can, oh, sorry. I guess I'm hearing some noise from somebody, but I'm not too sure. I don't think it's me. But yeah, these are all things I can work on, you know, and help you guys out if you have any questions. Agricultural zone and farmland is another area that's we don't have a lot of here on Oahu, but there are a lot of things that you can do with the property itself. So these are just some of the things and some sales. I was fortunate enough to just close on a big lychee farm at the end of last year, and that was 120 acres and 35 ag one acres of land. So that was pretty a really nice property at top of Milani Malka. So yeah, I can help with ag land too. And affordable housing, this is kind of where my heart lies, and I'm trying my best to work with people in housing. So I'm also on the board of Catholic Charities Hawaii. They do a lot for the homelessness, shelters, transitional housing, and rental programs and subsidies, and senior housing. So however I can help in that capacity, if any of you guys know people that are in this state, or they need some assistance, or they just need, you know, to be directed somewhere, this is an area where I can help, you know, get them the resources that they need, or at least connect them with the right people. And then on the real estate side, for affordable housing, I think a lot of people don't find it affordable, but workforce housing and reserved housing are at the very bottom here, are the only two where you can actually purchase. Everything else will be more on the rental side or government subsidies. And this is pretty much a big area for our sustainable sectors. I know that with Eco Rotary and a lot of sustainability measures and going green, a lot of people kind of just think of sustainability and green to be on the environment. But one of the big factors for the state of Hawaii is to provide housing for everyone. And to that's just one of the big goals for us to be a sustainable society. So with that, this is my up and coming future projects that I'm just kind of hashing out right now. And if you happen to live in a condo and this sounds of interest to you, let me know. If you also have some great contacts in, I would say, recycling, that would be a good area that I need to reach out to, because a lot has changed since China doesn't take our trash anymore. So I would like to know what options we really do have on the recycling side. So the project that I'm starting to work on right now is greening your condo. This would be for condo associations and their residents in, you know, greening their condo and community. So it will have 3 areas of focus. One would be energy efficiency, one's recycling, and then one's community gardens. And just a small breakdown for the energy efficiency side, there will be options that community or the association could adopt. And we're gonna try to give as many options as possible, and maybe certain ones they may wanna adopt. If you see here in the photo, this was just put up on our building at Pearl 2 in Aiea. And it was about a $1.4 million power purchase agreement to do the solar. And so another company took it on. This is just an example of what you could do. Another company put it on, they set it up. It's like a commercial type of solar setup. And they basically, you know, it's kind of how lease solar works, where, you know, the whole association, when they're getting solar from these solar panels, instead of paying 30 something cents per kilowatt hour, they only pay about 22 cents per kilowatt hour. And they're not paying for this system. That other company pays for it, and everybody wins. And as you can see, if you look on that, all of those where it's now covered parking for all of these people that were on the top deck. So it just added value to those homes. So there's a lot of things that we can be doing for condos that are not happening right now. And, you know, a lot of people are renting, and maybe if you're really into sustainability and you're not on a board and you're not able to voice your opinion, this would be a way for you to contribute to, you know, sustainability in this way, if we actually get something like this up and running for buildings. Recycling, it would be to, you know, add recycling programs to the different condos as well. And it could be as easy as just doing glass and aluminum cans or whatnot, all the way to, you know, composting for the garden that you're gonna have in your complex. So third is community gardens. Kind of what we're doing at Kaka'ako, because there's a lot of space and a lot of green space for some buildings or rooftop decks. And these are just different ideas that we could bring to a condo that they may want to adopt and give residents another amenity for their building. Or maybe, you know, they can start their own garden club or do things like this. So there's just so many options, so many different things that you can do. And I want to pretty much put together this package that we can present to AOAOs and boards at different condos. And if they're interested in adopting something, then we'll help them and connect them with the right parties. So that's here. And that's what we would do. So that's kind of a whole bunch of stuff. And I'd rather leave a little more time for people to ask me questions. And if you guys want to be connected with anybody, or you guys, you know, anything, just, I just wanted to open the floor to whatever. Sorry, I know it was a lot.
I put a quick comment in the chat box. This is Kelly McDonald. I'm with Diamond Head Kaka'ako. So I live in a high rise in Waikiki, and we have a huge unused roof deck. I would love, you know, because right now I just have some little flower boxes on my lanai to grow herbs.
Right.
But I would like to, you know, more meaningfully grow, you know, lettuces, you know, fruits, vegetables that could be, you know, meaningfully, you know, produced and shared. Are there some buildings who have successfully deployed rooftop decks? And I mean, I'm thinking about all the objections our board is going to have about, you know, liability, about insurance, about potential damage from watering, or, you know, those sort of hurdles that have been overcome that could help, you know, smooth the way to have a more successful conversation with our board.
Yeah. So I did a podcast with on the Tower Gardens. I don't know if you're familiar with that. And that's a very initial step that people can make. They can do it on their own lanai, or it's something that there can be a whole bunch of them that an association adopts, and it would be good for, you know, rooftop decks and things like that. And I can definitely connect you with them. And, you know, that was one of the icons that I have for, you know, greening your condo. And so a tower garden is this, you can look it up as well too, but it's like it's a small little thing that you would, you know, you can grow like lettuces, and there's a whole bunch of things that you can grow in there, but it works with just water. Water filtration through it, and you plug it in. I think they run about $500 a pop, you know, and this lady who, you know, does it here, they put them into schools, they have them elsewhere at different places, so there is some traction as to, you know, and you know, that they can show like what they've done in the past and how it works. Oh, look, somebody has one and they're showing it on their on the, let's see, Carrie has a tower garden. There you go, see. But yeah, so you can do it indoors, outdoors, but you have to have the natural light, and it kind of runs on like a filtration system. And it would be great to see those, you know, numerous of them, you know, on, you know, the buildings. And there's a lot of places in different states and countries that are starting to implement things like this, but it's definitely not in the caliber of where, you know, we're not even there yet. Oh, Richard?
Hi, Christina. First of all, mahalo for a very informative and very relevant presentation. A thought. I've traveled over a number of years to Singapore. Tropical, a bit different from Hawaii, not as much trade wind, more regular afternoon thunder showers. Very intense nation and very urbanized. But a few years ago, they started trying to remake some of their high-rise buildings. So they wound up with rooftop gardens. They wound up with individual vegetable and herb gardens on the lanai, and then vines of various types trailing down the sides of the building to create a green environment. I was amazed to the extent which they were able to transform some areas. There might be some things we could pick up from Singapore and how they have worked that into that dense urban environment. It really seemed to make a difference. I visited one of the high rises and talked with the occupants, and they were pretty pleased with it. There were the usual initial issues of making sure that the maintenance was properly done and everything else, but they worked through that, and all in all, it was a very positive experience.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah, I would like to just interject and say that I did. I worked in Singapore for an office, and I actually helped design a building that had a lot of green rooftops and green terraces. And I definitely think that Hawaii has huge potential for that due to our climate. But one of the biggest factors in Singapore, and maybe I can turn this into a question for Christina, because one of the big factors in Singapore was that a lot of these trees and things that we were putting on these balconies and stuff, they weren't really happy to be there, and it required a lot of maintenance. And the thing about Singapore, there's a dark side, and that is that they have cheap labor that's able to kind of maintain this vegetation that is in awkward places and green walls. Hawaii, I think, is a different situation, so it requires more of a communicative input. But I'd like to know from your end, Christina, if has there been experimentation? Like, what is success rate of gardening on lanais or rooftops? If that's something that you've had any interviews on your podcast with or experience.
So that one lady who does the tower up and does those ones, she has like a whole bunch on her lanai. So she does it and, runs it. But when it comes to, there's so much of an integration with like the community gardens that I was talking about for the Greenier condo that you can do. Our building has actually a lot of green space and on the ground level, right? And there's a lot of just so much foliage, like just everywhere, and none of it's like food. And you look at it, like we have a dog park, we have like all this stuff, and there's a whole huge grassy pad that says no dogs, right? And nobody uses it, and it's all grass and it's being watered. We have maybe 3 to 4 maintenance workers that work on the grounds, like every day, and they're already paid, from the association. And I'm just thinking, why not take one of those paid, positions and have them also, help with, taking care of the different types of like food items, so if you were to take it to that level, the AOAO may be able to take on, it's already an expense that they're doing, so it's something that they could adopt. So like you said, you would need more than just maybe a club that would get together to work on this. But if you start, you can do just planter boxes, or you could just do like a community garden, and if you have a building with, I don't know, 200 or plus residences there, there are probably people that would want to have this space, and they probably would go to it and tend to it every day because they probably miss it, because they probably came from a house that had this garden and they don't have it anymore, so we have a lot of older people in our in our building that I think would love to have this space. So I don't know, it would be an experiment, I would definitely say, and the board would have to really talk to their residents about it. But I want to try to put something together for sure. Yeah. Oh, Pili.
So I have 2 questions, but I'm just gonna try to just make it one. So do you have like a range or average range in how much a smart home it could be in Hawaii? I know, like, we know like the average for regular homes, like, and we think, from my point of view, we think that smart homes may be expensive, but what it would be like the average price of a smart home in Hawaii, considering the one that you visit in Pololo, that seems like a very down to earth, like a functioning more than beauty, and compared to the other ones that you have done that are more like sophisticated in technology and so on. Yeah. And then also, as the point of view for real estate, like the real estate that you do is only for that type of homes, or you do like both, like no like a sustainable focus?
So I do residential real estate and all kinds of homes. So, it's not just geared to smart homes. or, you know, green high performance homes. But we don't have enough of them here to even make that a career, I would think, at this point. But I would love to be that point of contact for people that are having to sell, because there are people starting to build this, right? And they're starting to, from scratch, to build these type of homes. There is a property that just came on the market, actually with our company. I'm not the listing agent, but I went out to the property and I'm going to be posting about it. It's listed for 2.5 mil in Kahuku, right by the wind farms. And I know some people don't really like the whole wind farm things. Maybe this group does, but I think it looks beautiful. It's their backdrop. It's the view planes that they see from their house. It's like literally right there, and they're quiet. But I have a quick little video that I'll do on it. But that home is off the grid, and yes, it's a pretty penny, but you've got 5.5 acres of land. You know, you're not too far from the ocean, and you've got like 139 panels of PV. There's 3 separate dwellings on this property that has its own systems with storage. It's got a well on it. They have, you know, and that stores, like, you know, that's where they get their water from. So it is completely off the grid, but everything is nice and really pretty. So yes, something like that is going to run you about 2.5 mil here on Oahu, but you don't have to, you know, start there. So for the homes that you're thinking from scratch, it's going to cost you a lot more to do right now. But there's a lot of things that you can do for your home now, you know. So if your home isn't a smart home, or, you know, with all of these features, there are things that you can add. I mean, you can get Energy Star appliances when your appliances don't work. And when I was talking to April, I think it was April, you know, at like Restore Hawaii, they sometimes have Energy Star brand new appliances for, you know, much lower prices. So there's different things that you can add to your home to make it more efficient. If you don't have a solar water heater and it's time to get a new water heater, you should be getting a solar water heater. You could talk to Steve about that at Revolution. But there's just a ton of things that you can do that will not only be sustainable, but it's gonna bring down your own like fixed costs, like your electricity bill and stuff too. So those are things on our website that with Hawaii Energy, I've posted some things too. I can send you guys that link. I have 2 different websites. One is focused on like the home side of things and the real estate side, and then one is the smartlivinghi.org. So if you go to smartlivinghi.org, it's all of the sustainable initiatives that Hawaii has. If you go to smartlivinghi.com, then it's on the real estate side, and under about, if you go to green homes, there's just a ton of information for your home and things that you can do, and it's connected to like Hawaii Energy, like the rebates that you could get, the things, you know, if you're getting split AC, if you're going to put in a split AC system, they have rebates for you that you can just, there goes another $250 you can collect. You know, there's a lot of things to save money that, you know, you can do too. So those are the partnerships that I'm trying to do for like greening your condo. Like I'm going to be meeting with Hawaii Energy and asking them, well, what would you be able to offer a building if they're gonna, you know, go with this program? Like, will you be able to help out with changing out all their lighting in their common areas and things like that? So there's a ton of things that don't necessarily cost money or might save money for you too. I can help you with too. Oh, is there any?
I just sent the links of Christina's website, the ones that she just mentioned, for everyone to have there.
Does anybody else have any other questions? No?
No
I
more.
I have another question I can throw in there. From a real estate standpoint, when you have people, I'm trying to understand maybe how it would happen that people would be interested in sustainable homes from a real estate standpoint. Like if you had somebody who's interested in buying one of your sustainable homes or is coming to you with that kind of interest, do you often find that they're like most people are focused on living off the grid, or do you find that people just find it to be cool and exciting to have like solar power panels and like some kind of garden, or is it more that people are interested in saving money?
I think first and foremost, it's usually saving money. Like for example, my parents have a horrible carbon footprint. Let's just put it that way. Their electricity bill in Pearl City was hitting over $700 a month. And they have single wall construction, typical home over there. And they put on, get this, 64 panels of PV. And for people that don't know, it's a lot more than you would put on for a family. And so anyhow, they were able to get it in on the last day before, and they were able to grandfather in their net metering. So when you have a home like that, like in the future, when you sell it, that net metering that's grandfathered in is something that is passed down to a future homeowner. And that could mean $500 to $700 a month that you're saving monthly, right? So that's a big savings that is starting to translate to people. And when it comes to real estate, they are asking about solar PV now, and it is becoming something that they're asking, how many panels, is it leased or is it owned? And, you know, like, do they get to, is it theirs, you know, when they buy? So that's probably the biggest thing right now in Hawaii. But when I talk to people in California, I mean, they're a little more greeny there, I would say, and they've been doing this for the past decade now, and they're starting to build homes and turn homes that are green. So when I talked to some people there, they said that someone's bringing one of those guns that tests the heat of a house, because in over there it's kind of it's insulation too, right? There's a lot of things, and they have different measurements on a home when you have a green home. It's like a his and hers ratings that they do, and it says how leaky your home is, to where, you know, air is getting out of it when you're, you know, have your AC on and it's not as efficient. There's all these different things, and it matters to more people in, I would say, California, and we are about 10 years behind them. So I could see this mattering 10 years from now, right? So I'm just kind of pioneering this with, because it's of interest to me. And I think our state is moving so quickly and so forward on sustainability, to where they're changing laws for it. And when the government is behind it, and the people are wanting it, it's starting to move progressively faster than other places like Florida, for example. They have a lot of sun and a lot of solar, but they're having much more trouble on the government side to push things through. So we're seeing something very different here. We have a very unique dynamic right now with sustainability and moving forward on things that people are starting to work together. I mean, just with what they're doing with, you know, Surfrider and Sierra Club and the things that are getting passed with plastics. I mean, there's just so much moving forward that I can see things escalating a lot faster here. So.
Christina, do you feel that because of Hawaii's trade winds and the way we've designed our buildings in the past, that kind of makes it contradictive to how to make the buildings less leaky, and to be able to allow that AC is more productive for a home? And because I see that most of our homes are kind of designed to let the trades in and not to have AC, but I know it's a big expense to try to close up that house and let AC coming in. And with global warming, a lot of us are starting to see that maybe we should have AC, especially for certain times of the year. But then with louvers and everything else, it's kind of impossible to keep that effectively in the house without you paying for air conditioning the outside.
Yeah, so interesting enough that you brought that up. I do have a podcast on the building code that was just passed, and Howard Wigg is the green guy code that works for the state of Hawaii. And he did that podcast, and he's the one that goes to the mainland every year to talk about, you know, the codes and stuff. So he actually said that they put together a tropical layout of what you could do for a home that does not have AC. And so you can build two different ways now. You can do, you know, one where it's going to be AC'd, and then there is this tropical Hawaii type of home where it will take in the trade winds and utilize the home that way, so you don't have, you know, necessarily AC in certain areas. So it's, if you're going to get AC, and you probably need AC because it's really hot in certain areas, you got to, I mean, I would get a split system for sure. And, you know, windows are pretty costly. So I understand that that may be difficult for people to do, but don't just go and buy, all I can tell people is don't go and buy that window AC. It's going to jack up your, you know, energy bill way higher than you even can imagine, especially if your home is leaky. But the splits will do like wonders, let me tell you. And then also the actual single wall construction, it's just, the thing that sucks is that it wasn't built usually, yes, like to, the houses weren't always positioned properly to let in trade winds. So sometimes the AC is really the only route you can take with how hot it is. So that's one. I don't know, there's no solution but to buy windows, yeah, like you said, so.
Okay, thank you.
Christina, it seems like you're both a realtor and a guide for where we might go. I mean, if you think about where we are right now in the world, the United States, Japan, the Western European nations have sat there and patted ourselves on the back about our high standard of living and what we do. And we've sort of said smugly to the rest of the world, this is what you should aspire to. If everyone in the world lived at the same standard that we do, we would destroy the environment. I think we're beginning to realize that. So it doesn't mean that we need to live in a thatched hut and give up all of the conveniences we've had. It means that we need, family by family, house by house, to make some intelligent decisions. Maybe buying a new home that's green is a great idea. Now, I don't know how many people on this video are ready to put down $2.5 million to buy that house in Kaka'ako next to AES. I thought about it, but I will tell you that I think what most of us are going to do is do an array of things based on your wise counsel that will help us to live in a little more environmentally friendly manner, to reduce the amount of carbon that we put in the environment, to reduce our impact and so forth. And a part of that will be our choices in homes as we go forward, so that we don't always have to live in such an energy intensive style. So I think apart from your interest in realty, your .org side of you has probably pointed out some pretty good guidelines for us to think about.
Yeah, so if you guys need anything in reference, you know, you guys want, you know, a vendor or somebody in any of these areas, just because of what I've been, you know, the people I've connected with, the podcast, the, you know, friendships that I've made over time, just let me know and I'll connect you with a lot of these people. It's just, it's something I do. It doesn't necessarily, you know, correlate to real estate. It's just, you know, it usually is about a home. And however I can help, that's my goal. So, and to make us more sustainable. So, yeah.
Thank you, Christina. So it is true. If whatever you need from Christina as a reference, she knows someone, and she is very good with sharing. She's not jealous at all. So feel free to contact her with any questions. She's always there to help and to share whatever you need. Like if she knows, she's gonna tell you. So what I'm gonna do is that I'm gonna put in the chat Christina's email, so you guys can contact her if you have questions about what she's doing, if you have questions about to contact someone of her speakers from the podcast that you are interested to be a speaker in your club. Christina is a great reference. She really knows how to network. We are learning a lot from her. She always very passionate about what she does, as they say in the org side, and we are very happy. Thank you, Christina. It was very nice to hear you. We have her as a member, but sometimes we don't really even know what we do, right? Like we kind of
Yeah.
have a sense, but we don't really know. Like again, how is it again? So I'm very happy that I get to hear what you do and how you do. And thanks for sharing and being so supportive about our club and what we do and our mission as well. So I think that the class is dismissed. So to close out, I'm gonna share my screen again, and we're gonna close out with the 4-way test of what we think, say, or do. First, is it the
Is it
truth?
the truth?
The truth.
Is it the truth?
Second, is it fair to all concerned?
Is it fair to all concerned?
Third, will it build goodwill and better friendships?
Will it build goodwill and better friendships?
Four, will it be beneficial to all concerned?
Will it be
Will it be beneficial to all concerned?
Fifth, is it fun?
Will
Six,
it be fun?
six, is it eco-friendly? So
Everything
everyone,
is fun.
have a good evening. This call was recorded and will be available in our website soon. So if you guys want to share the link with your coworkers, friends, family, feel free to just point it out to www.ecorotary.org, and in the section of speakers, you will be able to see recall Christina's presentation along with all our other speakers. So mahalo, have a good evening, and we'll see you next week.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Christina.
Say hi to Elijah.